Hello everybody, starting off today's episode with another World of Tanks video. Here we are driving down the field. We see our first target. We're going to try and rotate this light tank without taking too much damage. As we rotate, we want to keep a proper angle so that while we are rotating, this light tank won't be able to land a shot as easy while continuing to scout for our team. We keep a certain rotation on this light tank, and if he's auto-locking, he won't even be able to keep up with the rotation of an armadillo, except for straightaways and like that pool I just we got some teammates actually helping now. While maintaining the rotation and advancing the pressure. Since we have a teammate helping, we are going to advance on their overwatch now. Finish that light tank, we progress on to the next challenge. Now, even though we're reloading, we can still go into this battle and help this light tank by disrupting the enemy barrels, making them ineffective. Now we see our next target. Now here you can see I'm starting to lose health because it's clearly the team isn't putting the pressure on the enemies that are allowing themselves to just dogpile. And now you can notice the rest of the team. And now that we're dead, we can take a harder look at the remainder of the team in their fetal position. Currently separated from the actual opportunity, and now that it's how many ever players not helping how many ever other players on their own team, they'll be forced to realize as both teams crumble because they're just outpowered, outnumbered, they lost. Proving yet again that their support isn't support. Proving that their Overwatch isn't Overwatch. They're barely watching over themselves. Now here's the interesting part, because if you haven't noticed, I actually tempoed up the remainder of the match. Now, because I don't have the time to explain this and I don't feel like making it so by editing the content any more than I have. I want you guys to realize, this video, I haven't really even taught you anything. Most of what you could have learned that I taught you, you could have learned simply from watching the gameplay. Just as if you paid attention, you would have noticed who was helping, who was getting help, and who didn't even help themselves. No matter if it was one, two, or all three things at any given time throughout the match.
I've prepared a motivational speech and everything, but you're not going to listen anyway. Let's roll.
Now remember, the slower the enemy is, the easier it is to land your shot. Now, whether you penetrate or not, that's a matter of how you shoot your shot and how you land your shot. Now, for faster enemies, the trick is leading the bullet, but you have to realize, the faster the enemy is, the more you have to lead the bullet, and in turn, that enemy may not be in that position where you led the bullet to land him. as he intercepted that position. And now here we are watching a match of an RDF-LT. The actual name of it is Rapid Deployment Force / Light Tank. It's a really good tank. It's probably one of my favorites. I'd say it's probably in my maybe top 5, definitely top 10 for Era 2 tanks. Now currently we're at the initial start of first contact in the match. We are going to continue to try to do our scouting job while noticing where the teammates are positioning themselves, because that's a big factor on how we can approach the enemies as a light tank or scout.
Oh, no. Getting stuck here would be a disaster. Penetrated.
Now, as you can notice, I didn't approach with the best approach or effectiveness. I had to kind of save my tail here. And now, as I'm repositioning, in my mindset, I'm hoping that the teammates are being somewhat effective in their position, or even whatever their purpose of approach or choice of positioning purpose was. We are just hoping, as their light tank and or scout, we are hoping that they can somewhat be effective no matter what they decided to do. Now, as you can see here, I'm currently kind of just trying to buy myself some time, as if I push into the enemies, I'm not far from death. No matter who or what I run into, it could be one enemy and I'm pretty close to dying, no matter the tank. So I'm trying to currently buy time in order to have the team help me in the small way that I would need the help, in order to be just as effective as I could without the concern of me being unhealthy. Now, currently in that moment, I could see that my natural patience was wearing thin, and I didn't want to wait for the team anymore.
No penetration. Take that shell.
Which, in turn, isn't always the best decision. And here we have an example of a bad driving. I throw myself a smoke, costing ourselves 10,000 silver as we chose the silver rebuy feature. And now as we make our exit, we try to reposition and reevaluate the map to find our next play. Now as we notice our next play,
Penetrated them. I see a ricochet.
after finishing that target, we find our next one. We try to help our teammate here, but we don't have the bullets to do so, and he's clearly not interested in aiming his barrel S instead. Notice the importance of the angle, as if I wouldn't have turned left as hard as I was, I may have outran some of his bullets that were able to finish me off. And we'll finish off this review with watching how much of a barrage of bullets this heavy tank could endure, and yet these are the people that choose not to help us on the front line. But they won't be on the front line, because if they were on the front lines, they wouldn't have got first place while having the entire team do their job for them. Or they would, and it might not be so much of a, oh, look how much better I am than my own team, even though I didn't even play the game. Or did play the game and just doesn't want to admit that they had the teammates play for them and not with them. And it be like that sometimes, folks. No worries. Check in next week. I'm going to go enjoy my weekend. I'll see you guys on Monday if I feel like continuing this project. But always remember, people, even if I fail, you don't have to. As well as not making it harder for others when we no longer have the opportunity to teach.